Hello and welcome to the Shnug podcast. My name is Richard Loftus and today we are coming to you from Hotel Doolin for Hedge School 2024. This is a not-for-profit artist-run festival for those who need to create. A place for unique collaborations and intimate encounters. The festival hosts innovators and creators, performing, sharing and collaborating over 3 days, with live performances at night and music and literary workshops during the day. This is Hedge School Doolin. Okay, so now we're joined by Enda Gallery, producer, artist. Thanks for joining us. How are you, Enda?
I'm very well, yeah.
How's the weekend going for you so far?
It's going great. It's going great, yeah.
Where are you from originally, actually? Are you from the side of the world, or where are you from?
I'm originally from Leixlip in Kildare.
Okay.
And but both my parents are from Clare.
Okay.
So I went to Berlin for about 8 years. And during the pandemic, I came back for a temporary trip to my mother's home place in Kilfenora.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
And just made some music there for 3 months, you know, and just kind of one thing led to another, and it ended up being a permanent move, you know.
Okay, so you're back full time.
Yeah.
And you're in Kilfenora now?
In Kilfenora since 2020, yeah.
Yeah. Could be worst places in the world you could be.
It's great. No, I love it here, really. I love loving living in Clare, you know.
So just from your own background, how long have you been producing?
I've been producing about 11 or 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
I did a master's in music technology in Limerick in like 2010-11.
Yeah.
And then I went over to Berlin to kind of start my music career, and I was just busking on the street that first year.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then I went to India for a little while, and when I came back, Hey Simon. When I came back, I basically got the opportunity to work with one of the guys in my class, you know, and just a series of wild events. We ended up making a bunch of tunes, and another friend of mine at that time asked me to present a radio show with him on community radio in Berlin.
Okay, cool.
And I was like, nobody listens to this radio station, but I'll help you out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I played one of our songs on the show, and the head of Universal Germany started calling us and was like, I want to sign you guys, and he put his head in oar on us and kind of like was calling us every week for a good few months. And you know, my friend kind of freaked out a little bit, so it didn't go ahead in the end. But then that's how people started asking me to produce their records after that.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
And I kind of got into production, and and then I kind of was balancing the two in different ways until 2017 was when I also added kind of starting the label, starting a kind of artist development company.
What is the label's name?
It's called Welcome to the New World.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there must be different challenges with running a label compared to being just a producer for yourself?
Oh yeah, big time. It's a lot of like kind of background admin. A lot of technical admin that's not necessarily that fun. A lot of Excel sheets, a lot of like accounting, a lot of like distribution kind of stuff. Admin, you know? Yeah.
But it must be nice to be able to, you know, you have the opportunity now to push artists that you're interested in yourself.
That is great, and that was the whole idea. Like, basically, the idea for the label was kind of born out of a mushroom strip that me and my friend Habib had, and you know, we had seen really beautiful things on the trip, of course, like internally speaking, and okay, we said now that the trip is finished, we should do some of this in the real world, you know. So we thought, if we can amplify some true and rare artists, you know, that's going to be a really good thing. And one of our friends, who's kind of a philosopher, I suppose, he kind of told us this thing that we all subscribed to immediately, which was like, you can try to change the world with money, but it really takes trillions, you know. You can try to change the world with politics, but it takes hundreds of years, and you'll probably get dirty trying to do it. But you can change the world with art, because art changes culture, you know. And we were like, okay, let's try and make a little change with art, you know.
And what kind of stuff do you kind of what do you release on the label? What kind of genre would it be?
It doesn't have any genre in particular. Like, it has happened to be some it has happened to be some hip hop artists from Limerick, just happened organically, but it's also been like piano players in based out of Berlin, or soul singers, so like I suppose so far it's been like soul, R&B, some meditative stuff, some piano stuff, but kind of open. It's kind of not genre bound, it's more
So
the right opportunity and the right person kind of band.
yeah. So would you say you have kind of 2 feet, one in Ireland and one in Germany, kind of for the?
No, I'd say both feet are in Ireland at the moment. Yeah, and I'd say like then I do look at the world, and I do like to interact with the world. Like I'm going to America on Wednesday, because Strange Boy, one of the artists that I develop, he is heading over for a showcase at Folk Alliance in Kansas City. He's an official showcasing artist, so that's really great. And I'm gonna go to Los Angeles before, and yeah, I was playing in New York like 2 years ago at the Irish Arts Centre there with some of the guys from Hot House Flowers, and Claire Sands, and that was awesome. And out of that we got a 1-year visa, so I spent a lot of time there.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I like that. So I like having Ireland as a base, and I like also to see the world, and be in and around the world,
And I'm guessing it was through the production company that you met the guys that you did the workshop with yesterday.
It was more through, I suppose the way that would have happened was the first artist that I sort of discovered and signed was Strange Boy, and this is kind of where the producer kind of role is the leader, actually, because or the producer and artist role, because I had a song called It's Alright that I composed kind of at the end of 2016, and I had this big 12-bar jazz solo in it, and as it was kind of getting completed, I had this feeling, and Irish rap wasn't big at that time, but I kind of had the feeling like I got a list of maybe 20 or 25, and there was 2 that I stood out as being really great, and one of them was Kojak, and the other one was Strange Boy. And Kojak already kind of had like one kind of big song. Strange Boy, I think, was like 17 or 18 years old. He had a super cool voice, and he was just the right one. He was just the one I felt. So
am I right in saying Strange Boy, it's kind of a mix of, or maybe it was just his latest album, it's kind of a mix of traditional Irish music,
that's correct.
And rap.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and he's from Limerick originally, isn't
he's from Limerick. Yeah, he's from Caherdavan. Yeah, so I reached out to him. He really wanted to go on the track, so I could organise a studio in UL where I used to go to college, and so I brought him there. We recorded it in 2 hours, and that song became really big. Like, it got on the BBC Normal People series.
Oh, wow.
Got on a BBC introducing mixtape. Got some Tom Robinson play, some Radio X play. It really, really did great. And that was where the relationship was formed. And then, a year later, kind of we worked together and came up with the idea of this trad rap combo, and I produced and composed that album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's been great for him. That was a really big breakout album for him, and has led to him being booked in the States, and being able to play on Tommy Tiernan and all those kind of nice things. And he's almost ready with his second album, actually. So.
And will you be producing that as well? Or?
Yeah. So I'm producing that, composing that. Some of them I'm co-writing with some of the guys in the band. But yeah, so far it's a 16-track album, and he's working on the lyrics. But it's awesome. It's really really awesome. Like, it's a long time in the making, and a lot of work is put into it. But it's really great, really great.
Would you say, were you in your comfort zone doing the workshop, or are you used to kind of like
the lyrics workshop yesterday? Yeah, no, I think I'm totally in my comfort zone there. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's like you still need to be very much on, because there's, 25 or 30 people, and they all have different levels of experience and different expectations from the workshop. So you got to be quite clear-minded to ensure that it's engaging for such different people,
Yeah, you don't want to be wasting people's time, I suppose.
Yeah.
You don't want to be wasting people's time.
Yeah, and you don't want to make it too easy for people, and you don't want to make it too overwhelming for people. So you got to kind of pick a right balance. And but I felt it went really, really well. I'm very comfortable doing that. Like, I'm kind of guiding or teaching is something that comes quite naturally.
And like, were you just trying to elicit response, or did you give them prompts, or how did it work?
No, I started by basically going around to every single person and just asking their name and their experience, and to some who had some experience, I would maybe ask them what their expectations, were, what they would like out of the workshop. And then I kind of tailored the process kind of on the fly. Like, I had prepared a bunch of stuff, and I just then tailored it a little bit to make sure I ticked a bunch of these boxes that everybody had, to go home happy,
Yeah.
But it was a great process. Like I kind of probably thought it would take 90 minutes, something like that. But in the end, it kind of almost went to 3 hours because it was
Wow.
Well, just because they were really enjoying it, they were
Yeah.
taking, I would have imagined, okay, we're going to spend 5 or 10 minutes for this or this or that exercise, but they were all deep in it, and so I didn't want to cut them off. It was like I didn't want to rush them, and they, people were coming out with full songs at the end, and so that was great.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, like I suppose people are really kind of feeling fortunate that someone like yourself, with a major background, would spend extra time with them, like so if they're enjoying the experience and you are, so
that's nice.
You're playing, you're at play really between the whole gang, like I suppose that's kind of what from talking to a lot of people this weekend, like that's like a major ethos of the festivals, like people are just collaborating and enjoying themselves, so.
Yeah, it seems to be, like that's definitely something, that like sometimes you go to a festival and it's really like work.
Yeah.
So you work and then you're finished work, and then you either leave or you kind of transition into another mode. But here it kind of less feels like no, I suppose there is still a work element. You're still trying to work, but it's just that you really do hang around and you really do stay maybe the weekend or stay an extra night or two when you're not playing or performing, and you engage and you watch other people, and you engage with other people and whatnot. So that's cool. And they set up quite a few collaborations, and so I suppose embedded them into the program. So that's cool as well,
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people have enjoyed the fact that it's not just the structure. You're on at 2:00 and you play for an hour, and then you come back in. People are here since Wednesday and stuff, and it's like a different kind of collaborations, and people are coming in and out.
Yeah.
Would you like to come back again, do you think?
Oh yeah, this is my 3rd year in a row. I don't know if there's even been any more than that. I think there's only been 3, so I think I've been at all of them.
This is my first time, so
I'm
nice. On the hop now, so I'm not sure who was here before.
Yeah, so nice. Well, I've been here anyway 3 times,
Hey.
And the first time I was here performing with Wilsey. Second year I came and I was kind of doing a project with Donal Curley.
Mm-hmm.
Donal Curley organ.
Oh yeah, I met him last night.
Yeah. And he's great. He's awesome. And then this year I was obviously performing in the wake and doing the workshop.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much. Lovely chatting to you, and you're snug here.
Yeah, and best of luck in the States.
Thank you so much. Lots of love, bro.
First thing in the morning, you're looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Great, yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it was a really fun night.
Yeah. So, just to introduce yourselves, Elaine Mai and Dahi, electronic powerhouses, the pair of you.
Yeah. I'm a producer from Ballyvaughan, just up the road, so I'm kind of
You're
very
from
close.
Ballyvaughan originally?
Yeah. So I kind of grew up there, and Elaine is from Mayo, but we kind of met each other a long time ago in Galway. We were in a band called Go Pound to Go together, and ever since then we've kind of done a lot of stuff together and kind of produced together and all that kind of crack as well. So yeah, it's lovely. It's been really, really nice to kind of do a lot of these gigs and stuff, and we're currently producing Elaine's new album in Ballyvaughan, which will be kind of out next year.
Okay,
So,
fantastic.
it'll be fun.
So it's nice to kind of be able to invite people down to your side of the world, I suppose, and go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I moved. I kind of made an artistry called the Beekeepers in the lockdown, and essentially the whole aim of it is to get a whole pile of artists to kind of record records and albums in the area, and it's been going really, really well. And then I built a studio in Ballyvaughan, and that's where I work out of as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a great place to kind of bring people down and everything as well, So it's been really great.
Yeah. When I started this podcast, I lived in Galway City, and when I live in Kinvara now at the minute, and I was kind of worried. It was like, Jesus, would anybody come out, or will I be able to get anybody? And then you're like, Jesus Christ, the West Clare. It's just like there's loads of people there, and there's loads of people doing like interesting stuff, like so.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. You're working on the second album in the minute.
Second album we're working on now at the moment. Yeah, so it's going really well. I went away. Let me swap with you so you can keep an eye on her. Sorry, my daughter is hanging around here, so
mainly a daughter at the same time.
Yeah. I started writing it last year. I went away to Donegal for a few think for like maybe a week or something like that, and got the majority of the material down and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then I went to Dahi's new studio. So that was actually, we've done a few sessions now, late last year. So we're co-producing the album, and we've got a good kind of shape on it now, and now we're at the kind of point where we're getting vocalists in and stuff like that. So I'd say we're actually getting kind of close to the end, which is exciting.
Dahi was saying that both of you met in Mayo. Or no, you're from Mayo, but you both met in Galway.
That's right, yeah.
Are you based mainly in Dublin?
Yeah, moved to Dublin about, I think, 8 years ago or something like that. And it's great, yeah, really happy there. I mean, I obviously miss the west of Ireland plenty, and we come back as much as we can. Like, my wife has family in Galway, and then she's from Donegal.
Okay.
I'm from Mayo. We both went to college in Galway. You know what I mean? It's like the west of Ireland is, and now we have a big affinity with Clare because of Dahi and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I love it down here. Like, coming here this weekend now is just like, kind of feels like an exhale or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It's actually, someone said it was just like, it's like a Christmas for artists at the end of January.
Yeah.
When people
Especially
come.
in January, it's like,
Yeah.
you're not really doing too much, although I am actually quite busy, but you know what I mean? It's a nice kind of break or whatever, so it's good.
How did you find the gig last night?
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was class. Really enjoyed it. There was crowd was amazing. They were like really into it, and brilliant production. Like the sound engineer and the lighting designer, lights and everything was just brilliant. So it was great.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed
I
it.
checked my steps this morning. It was 20,000.
20,000. Yeah, I went for a little walk with my daughter there, and like literally like 2 minutes I ticked into like 6,000 steps. I was like, oh yeah, that's from last night. So.
I
Yeah.
was like, I got here at about 10 o'clock yesterday, and I was just like, okay, I finished about 7 o'clock, I'm wrecked. And then sure, his show was great and your show was great, and so I was up to like 1 in the morning, so
Do you wanna say hi?
unusual for me.
Do you want to say hi?
Say hi.
Hi.
You want to say hi?
First podcast guest. Or
Say hi,
appearance.
yeah. Absolutely not. Fair enough.
It's too early in the morning.
Yeah, this is the most unique podcast interview that's ever happened.
It's not
really.
the first time we've had like a
Really?
a family involved. Yeah, that's grand. What you call it?
We can swap in and out, will be grand.
Yeah. Godfather duties is.
Oh, you're the Godfather as well. Oh,
yeah,
class.
yeah. That's
Very
right.
important duty.
Very important. Yeah. That's it.
So I know you've been down here for a few days. Where you're like, how did rehearsals go?
It was great. It was really interesting because the idea for the show kind of came out of this kind of idea of this poetry book called Soundings, and they were just going to have a group of poets read some excerpts, and then the idea just flowered out from there. But because all the musicians are kind of doing so many different things, and it was just an incredible roster of people, we didn't have a huge enough amount of time to kind of rehearse or anything like that. So we just kind of set some ground rules, and then we had maybe an hour and a half, I think, on Thursday.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and then just kind
really
of
came together yesterday.
Yeah, it really came together, and we just kind of like explored kind of what you could do and how you can do it and stuff like that. My stuff is kind of interesting because you can use like the bass and the kicks and stuff as this kind of like a through line that everybody can follow. You know what I mean? And then we just kind of improvised from there, and. It's always a kind of a cool thing because it can either go really bad or it can go really well, and you can kind of like the risk of it is kind of the thing that is really amazing, and you get like the best parts of that gig last night was when everything just kind of clicked and everyone's like, oh, okay, we're in this now, we can actually move it. And I'd never met Osara before, and that was for me was the highlight of the show. I thought she was absolutely incredible. Myself and Anna Malarkey have kind of done a lot of stuff in the last while as well, and I love Anna. She's one of the best musicians I know as well. So it was great.
Some pair of lungs on her as well. Jesus
She does,
Christ, like.
yeah. She's great. Anna kind of supported me for a very long time on my kind of album tours and stuff as well, and she's just so good.
And she's sure Galway legend.
Galway legend, exactly.
Isn't My Fellow Sponges and stuff?
My Fellow Sponges, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her whole family are so musical. Like, geez, I'll never forget like seeing them for the first time and everything as well. They're great.
Yeah. You say you only had like an hour and a half to work on it, but like I'm pretty sure like isn't Lisa McInerney that did the spoken word thing? She only got here yesterday evening. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we hadn't met her at all. I didn't met her until she got on stage, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Wild. Yeah.
Jesus.
Because I mean, so we had a good WhatsApp chat group going.
Yeah.
And basically we kind of. The poets kind of picked which excerpts they were going to read, and then the whole idea around it was basically just that we would like rise up into energy and then kind of come down and clear out space for the poets to kind of really perform. And it just worked really, really well. Yeah, it was really cool, and like immediately people kind of like approached the poetry in very different ways. Some people were singing the poetry, and some people were kind of performing it in a specific way and everything. So it was just great to get like this kind of immediate thing where somebody's just kind of working on something and being creative, and it being a surprise along the way, you know. So it's great.
And have you done much with like spoken word before?
I suppose I mean, I guess I did a track a good few years ago called Mary Keane's Introduction. That was quite a kind of a large kind of hit in Ireland, and that was kind of the first time that I used that idea of kind of spoken words before a track, you know. I think if you're using it in samples and stuff like that, you have to get an actual recording of somebody who isn't going to be on your track, if you know what I mean. It has to feel really kind of authentic, or else you kind of caught with a kind of an actor performing something, you know what I mean. So I kind of any spoken word that I've used in any tracks have been based off kind of samples of something that you want to kind of create the atmosphere, you know. I mean, it's kind of a very interesting thing, because it's, you know, spoken word over music. It's just like the music immediately kind of frames it in a specific way. And I remember with Mary Keane's, there was this whole thing where, like, you know, she was actually talking to somebody at a kitchen table, but she sounded so much like how she sounded when she was talking by the fire or whatever. So I'll be mixing in the fire sound beside it and everything as well, so that like you can just kind of build the atmosphere around it, you know. So yeah, it's a very powerful thing. It's cool.
Yeah, it is. It was very affecting, and the visuals last night were amazing. Like,
yeah, they were great, weren't they?
Yeah.
Crosby is he's really,
oh,
really
that was
incredible.
Crosby.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I'd seen him on the lineup alright. Is he knocking around for the weekend, or?
I think so. Yeah. He's been here for a while. Yeah. He's a kind of a real alumni of the festival, I think, as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it was fantastic. One of my favorite points of the whole night actually was when you were doing a cappella, that song a cappella from Khalees, and they put the names of the Palestinian people behind it and stuff. It was just like really affecting and really kind of powerful, and it's very Hedge School as well, you know, like kind of extremely like, you know, something extremely creative done on the cusp of the moment and trying something different, you know. I think Hedge School is kind of all about taking risks, and you know, we're early in the year, so you can, like, if you want to try something, this is the place to do it.
Well, that's true. There's something that lends itself to that, you know. It's January, might as well try something different.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think a lot of times you kind of end up, or certainly if it's kind of like something that there's not a lot of preparation put into, that it's everyone's trying to be quite safe.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like that. It was like, wow, okay, that's amazing. Like even coming in here yesterday, and they've got all these TV screens that are similarly showing all the names, and it's just like, it's really kind of just a gut punch, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You had May Kay with you last night.
Yeah.
And she wrote on your first album, was that right?
Yeah, she did.
What time did she land down?
She was down on Friday. We came down yesterday. She wrote on 2 tracks for Home, if I'm not mistaken. My mind is a little bit fuzzy this morning.
It's early in the morning.
But yeah, she's back writing on the new album as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, which is amazing.
So would you collaborate a lot when you're doing live shows?
Yeah, we would, and I think we've become very good friends through the process as well. Like we had known each other just through like the Galaxy and just generally being at shows and stuff. But when we started working together on the first album, we just started to get on really well. And I think we just, like, she'd be someone now similar to Dahi that I would sound off.
Yeah.
And know, well, pretty much everything. Like, what is this shit? Or am I deluded? So, yeah, that kind of thing. So it's great to have that, you know.
Yeah, it's great to have a soundboard, so you can just like,
especially when you're a solo artist, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. May Kay is a really interesting thing, because it's like, you know, May Kay has been going for so long in so many different guises, like with Fight Like Apes and stuff. Fight Like Apes was the first band I saw in the Roisin Dove when I was like just joined college and everything as well.
I think I've seen them as well.
And she's just this, and then with all the other voices stuff as well. It's like she's seen it all and has a huge amount of experience and knows so many people and stuff like that as well. That she's a really good person to have around and to ask about stuff, you know. So
definitely.
It's been great.
Sometimes she'll just drop in little nuggets and you're like, oh yeah. She's like, yeah, we played Glastonbury twice. I'm like, oh.
Cool. When I come to my Olympia show that's fully sold out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What the hell? Like,
I know.
And they Fight Like Apes, they played together all together now last year, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And they're
didn't get
doing
to see
Olympia
that,
shows and stuff as well. Yeah.
The Olympia show was
reunion.
amazing.
Yeah.
I went to it last year, and there's another one I think in February. But it was,
oh, is it fantastic?
Yeah, their last one I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such an amazing show.
Such a unique band.
Yeah, they're not like anyone else.
Yeah.
Same
Guys,
thing as Unique.
I won't take up any of your time. You know, you've been very busy lives. So thanks so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of the weekend, okay?
Thank you very much for having us. Cheers. Appreciate it.
So Emma Lohan,
Yeah.
am I pronouncing that correctly?
You are? Yeah.
How you do?
I'm good. I'm very good.
How's your weekend? Or have you been here for a few days?
I
Or
got here Friday evening. Yeah. I found it hard to find Doolin. There's no signpost till Doolin until you get to the turn. Have you
Oh,
noticed that?
my wife drove me down, and she knows the way. She's just like, this down, this way, this way, this way, this way. Where are you from originally?
Galway.
All right,
You should
yeah,
know.
so it's not a million miles away.
I've been here quite some time, but I haven't lived here for 10 years.
Yeah, you were abroad for about
Yeah,
once
I
a decade,
was living
yeah.
in Mallorca for 5 and London for 4, and I lost 1 year somewhere. But I think that might have been the pandemic. So.
Yeah, we
But
all
it's
lost a
definitely
bit.
10 years since I lived here. Yeah.
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 And are you back here full time or what's the crack?
Yeah, like I properly moved back. I was making the move back over the last year, and I properly moved back in October.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, I've seen you've been described as techno folk. Is that a correct description?
I suppose that's my alter ego described that as techno.
Oh, okay.
He's a techno god. Yeah, he kind of appeared in my life, quite similar to Flann O'Brien's Swim Two Birds. Oh, not a Swim Two Birds. The Third Policeman.
Okay.
Very similar character just arrived in my life. I've no idea why he's there. He's no idea why he's there. I thought maybe he'd help me guide me more, but he doesn't. But he comes into my show. His name is Techno God, and before him I was folk music, and then I slowly, living in the Balearics, I just started hanging out with different labels and started just collecting machines, and now I've got like a loop station. Well, it started with the loop station and then just grew. So I combined my folk background with electronic music.
Yeah.
So myself and Techno God made this track called Techno Folk. So that's just why I just
That's why that follows you around at the moment.
I really don't know what it is.
So you were working with like New Pope and like Rivers and Crows and stuff like that, and like how did you get started? What was your first love kind of stuff? Was it like were you mainly a singer, or what was your your forte?
We had a piano in the house when I was a child, so I was very lucky to have like family of musicians and a record player, and I was the youngest of 5, so really good music coming into the house, and just started playing the piano from the age of 4. Started getting lessons. I was always singing, so it was just always there, but I didn't realise I didn't start properly into music until 2010.
Yeah.
I travelled down to Africa in 2007 and did some training for a year with them in West African percussion.
Oh wow.
And then I did my master's in Limerick in the World Academy of Music and Dance, and yeah, just kind of then it just grew.
Yeah.
I'm a very slow writer, like I write an album every 10 years, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, I hope so. Like I enjoy it. It takes me time, so I'm on my third album. I've only published 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've it's a strange thing now. I'm kind of considering how people produce and what they produce in kind of a different way after being here for the weekend.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to release it. If you make something and you enjoyed the process, and maybe sometimes it's just for yourself. You don't have to be trying to shout it out and stuff like that. Like just because you haven't released it doesn't make it any less of an album. I don't think.
No. I didn't release my first album because I didn't really know anyone who I could produce it properly with.
Yeah.
Then my second album, I found it took me ages to find a producer. That's the bit that's the struggle, So my second album, I found a really good producer in London, worked with him, and now my third album, I'm looking for funding so I can produce myself, learn the craft, get some mentoring, and
And which album is the Fish and Bird Symphony?
That's the one currently. So I've only written 2 movements of that.
Okay.
So tonight I'm performing the 3rd movement. I'm home to write the 1st, and the 4th is coming. So I have 2 more movements.
When you describe it as a movement, how does that differentiate from if someone would say a song?
It's written in the format of a symphony.
Okay.
So like even though it's electronic instruments and folk instruments and my voice, it's the same thing. It's 4 movements. There's a summary at the end, the coda, there's the introduction, then there's we move away from the theme, change key, modulate up, and then so it's the same format.
And is that? It sounds a lot more challenging.
It's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because it really makes me think about theme. You know, like I've always been really influenced by Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and it's just always been on my mind to write something like that. And but I'm doing it more, I suppose, the seasons of my life. So my roots, then my birth to middle age. Now I'm in middle age up, and then the following one is ether. So I probably will never finish this album.
Hopefully not. You live forever.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then for this weekend, you were doing mindfulness and creativity with Anna Malarkey, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. That was so much fun. Yeah.
So, talk me through that workshop. What did it entail? And
yeah, so like I've been part of my making music in the last 10 years has been this journey through meditation and myself.
Okay.
And looking inward, looking at dreams. And then Anna is very much she's really into philosophy and thinking. And we're very good friends, so we're always talking on the phone. We talk every day, and we're always talking about our different forms of practice and what we do to make music and make art, and how we mind ourselves and produce, So then we did a workshop recently, and I was like, I'll open with a meditation. And Anna just started playing this really cool music. And then we went into the workshop, and we really found it was such a lovely way to get people to collectively work together very quickly.
Can I put them in the mind space straight away?
It's great, so we had 30 people in silence, breathing in time. It's a straight connection,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Anna led this beautiful, we had instruments, improvisation, voice, and we led that together,
Yeah, she seems, I was just talking to Dahi there, she seemed to have an influence all across the spectrum on this weekend. A lot of people, she's kind of dipping out, talking to different people and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to do for the rest of the year? What's the plan?
The rest of the year, I'm going to Denmark and Croatia with, have you heard of Island Connects?
I haven't.
It's like 7 artists from different islands in,
I
think, Europe. So I've been selected for Ireland for the open call too.
Oh, wow.
So I go to Croatia in April, and then there's 7 of us meet in an island in Denmark for a week, and we're going to produce something. It's a research and creation time together, and then hopefully in the following year we produce something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it.
So are you a fan of this kind of improvisational kind of creation kind of stuff? Yeah,
that's how I work.
Yeah.
I even for like my gig tonight, there's always something new. I'm not one who can do the same thing every time. I need that feeling of I'm making something new for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm making it with the people who are there. Yeah.
Well, best of luck with the gig tonight.
Thank you so much.
And now we're joined by Rosaline McDonough, a traveller with a disability, writer, feminist, with a plethora of honours to her name: a BA in Biblical and Theological Studies, an MPhil in Ethical Racial Studies, creative writing, holds a PhD from Northampton University. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's the morning after the night before.
You're dead right. There's a few hairy heads hanging around here today.
When I knew Doolin was wild, I had no idea how wild it is. It's really lovely to be here.
Yeah.
I'm normally not a festival person. I kind of I'm not good with people.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed. There was a good energy, a nice vibe,
Yeah.
lovely environment, a lot of creative energy, and a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think it's like a homely experience, and everybody's just so friendly to each other, and they're just everybody's very polite, you've written a plethora of plays as well. How did you get started in writing originally? Was it in school, or what was the
I
impetus?
don't know. I don't know. I was very late. I started in my late 30s.
Okay.
I had a regular job, a regular life,
Mhm.
and one of my best friends died. I suppose that was a wake-up call. How short life is,
Yeah.
and you do you make a choice whether you want to be in a steady, easy life,
Yeah.
or whether you want to be alive inside in your heart, mind and soul, and starve to death. So I chose the latter. I decided I'll take a chance.
Yeah.
I got lucky. I worked hard.
So you were down here doing a conversation between yourself and Wilsey, kind of about your creative work, kind of depicting the traveller community, because that's where most of your work is based on. And you like to write from the traveller perspective, and I know you said last night that you kind of remove yourself from the settled community and then kind of focus on that part of your work. You must get great joy out of, living in that world alone, and exploring that through your writing.
Yeah, and I also, for a couple of years, I tried to do both. And I made a very bad job of it. But I think once I was clear in my head about what I wanted to do, and once I made a space in my life and decided this is how I work, this is why I work,
Yeah.
and this is what I want to work at.
I know you said yesterday that you loved the sense of humour within the travelling community, and it's. Would you say it's its own thing? It's far more unique than would it be in the settled community.
No. I mean, we're not all comedians. That's not what I meant. What I meant is a bit like Claire. There's a dry humor, and there's very funny half remarks. They're not quite fully sentences, but there might be a word, and then there might be a gesture
Okay.
or a comment. But I suppose what I really love is the diversity within the community. Everyone is so different.
Yeah.
Also, I suppose the warmth and the compassion and gentleness that maybe settled people don't see, but I see it and feel it. Also, that kind of sharp, intellectual, from people you wouldn't. They might not went to school, but God, do they know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, there's another side of it too. like everywhere, your own are a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that will judge you the hardest, and they're the ones that will say, "Oh, the work was shite. What are you doing?" But at the end of the day, I love being a traveller. and what it means.
Yeah. Do you? I know you said yesterday that we were talking about sense of humor and but you also talk about the kind of raw, dark side of things as well. And I know you said at one stage that you find it difficult because it goes down so deep that you're not sure if you could pull those characters or yourself out of that darkness. Um, is it a challenge to write about that topic continuously? You know,
I think we've lived very difficult lives. Almost lives that are on the edge. I think that has done something psychologically to us. In that we're, on the one hand, we're very humorous.
mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, there's a pain
Yeah,
and a fear, a paranoia, all those things that have been passed through generations. And then, I suppose, a problem men are 8 times more likely to commit suicide.
yeah,
I mean, that's very high.
yeah,
And I'm a sister of 9 brothers. I'm an aunt. And that's a big worry to have her to be on alert all the time. And for women, it's 15 times.
wow, wow. I didn't know that. No.
So you're dealing with a lot of pain
Yeah,
and a lot of hurt and a lot of oppression. And you have to be careful. You have to be careful what you're doing, what you're delving into,
yeah,
and make sure that you have a life, someone to pull you out in order to kind of, after I write something, I might need a week to just
discombobulate, kind of.
and relax
Yeah,
and get back into the real one.
yeah, yeah. I know you were saying last night that you like to write about women in the traveller community because you kind of sometimes they're seen as kind of side characters in the background and you want to push them to the foreground. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I write about women generally,
Mm-hmm.
but I think those are women were fierce, fiery, and there's so many sides of us, and we're the ones that carry all the pain.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that worry about our men.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that have to bury our sons.
Mm-hmm.
So, why wouldn't I write about women? And also, I suppose, my generation, we would have still had arranged marriages,
Yeah.
where the younger ones are doing their own thing with the help of Facebook. But there's that kind of wonderful moment of liberation that I'm lucky enough to be living through. And then there's the whole thing about women going to college or getting educated and what that does to a community.
Yeah.
I'm in a lovely kind of observatory role to see all sorts of changes coming from women.
I know you spoke at the start and said that Ireland is in a quite dark place at the moment, and that with, say, the rise of the right people in your community, you've seen the fires before and these kind of protests directed towards the trampled community, and that you've been dealing with it for years already.
People say it's about housing and accommodation. I believe it's also about hate,
Yeah,
and it's just a very, very sad and very fearful time that we're not able to embrace
yeah,
another journey into what it is to be Irish, that we're still hanging back to that white Caucasian settled identity, when I believe we're much more. And I also believe that we've forgotten how to be gentle,
mm-hmm.
how to be kind, how to be welcoming. That we're so selfish. Where do we get all this selfishness?
I don't know.
There's enough.
Yeah,
There's always enough in the pot for a few more.
very true.
And there is.
Yeah,
You know, you'll find. Um, I find that very hard.
I know these are a lot of topics that you touch on, and coming from disabled community as well. I suppose housing is even more of an important issue, and you're often overlooked from that standpoint as well.
I suppose I would always understand human rights from a traveller perspective. So, again, at the moment we're talking about assisted dying, and I'm thinking, well, what about assisted living? And can we not get that right first before we start looking at the morality of death?
Yeah,
Let's look at the morality of life and the dignity of all of us. I also think that accommodation or housing is only one aspect of how to live a good life. And when people don't have that, when they're in these centres, whether they're residential or whether they're holding centres for migrants, none of them are right. None of them are safe. None of them give any dignity or humanity to the people that are living there. I also feel, particularly in Clare and small areas, if your neighbour is involved with the far right going on a march, it's very divisive, and young people are manipulated into that. So it's very, very, the microcosm of rural life, and then you have this. But I'm afraid of the fires. They have to stop.
Yeah.
The fire is not a good way to make a statement. Somebody will be killed in a very painful way,
Yeah.
and it'll be somebody innocent. And you know, I thought after the Eighth Amendment, after gay marriage, I thought we were going somewhere. I thought we were moving in a particular direction. I thought we were embracing our young people and getting them ready for a new Ireland.
Yeah.
I thought we were on that road, and now it's just heartbreak to have 19-year-old young fellas saying very casually, "Are you going to the march?" And you're thinking, do you even understand what you're saying, let alone what you're doing? And also we can have the hope that the current generation of young people, that maybe they'll bring a swing back. And maybe, just maybe, arts, literature, music, a bit of poetry, maybe that can be a kind of a compass or a guiding light for how we find humanity in each other and in ourselves.
But I think that's a beautifully eloquent way of putting it. I know your collected essays, Unsettled, is available at the moment. My wife bought a copy yesterday, so looking forward to reading it. And then you have a collection of short stories, hopefully coming out later in the year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Rosalie.
So, my name is Aidan Duffy. I'm a young man from County Meath, up Trim. And yeah, I'm here this weekend at Hedge School because of a friend of mine, Donal McConnon. He's here doing an interactive performance, and I've been helping him out a bit with that and hanging out. Yeah, it's been great crack.
Yeah. So you're a musician and a producer in your own right as well then?
Yeah, that's right. I've been doing that. I've been full-time kind of at music now the last... I've been doing it like on the side, obviously my whole life, but it's been full-time the last 3 years. And I've been, basically at the start of the first COVID lockdown, like I'd done a bit of home recording before, but I was writing songs and there wasn't much else to do, and I decided I'd try and record them and make an album because that's something I always have wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I've been in and out of studios at different times with different bands and never been very happy, and I thought if I could get good at producing and engineering, I could probably get something I'm a lot happier with. Yeah, I didn't realise how long a journey it is to get the actual skills required of it. Like, so anyway, I did an album and it was fairly acoustic, kind of grounded stuff, which was what I was just really into writing at that time. But I would do all kinds of music at different times, different places, with different people. And then I've done 3 EPs as well since then, which were kind of a series, a trilogy. The first one was with a buddy of mine, Emmett O'Connor, he's called. And that was, we were using drum machines, we were using a little bit more electronic stuff along with a singer, some singer-songwriter kind of, I suppose, elements that are always going to be there because of the nature of the music. He's a pianist, so there's and a kind of hip-hop producer as well. So it's kind of mix a lot of different stuff in that. And then I did an acoustic EP, and then I did like totally acoustic, just me and a guitar, no overdubs. And then I did one that just had a lot of different friends on it. That all the songs were written through improvisation with friends. They weren't nothing. I didn't approach that with any material. It was just like I got in the room with my brother who plays the drums, and we just started improvising. And when we come up with an idea we liked,
kind of ad hoc in the moment itself.
In the moment, but when we came up with an idea we liked, we'd then go, okay, that was good, let's kind of play it again, and then a structure would emerge. But there was no lyrics. We weren't improvising any vocals at all. So we were literally structuring an entire song and going, that's it. And we recorded it. And then I and other people I was getting in had to write the vocals around this. And I didn't chop anything up.
Yeah,
and we didn't re-record the original. So it was like, whatever we write now needs to fit into this exact structure, which made sense to us instrumentally. But that was the most difficult one by far to finish, because I mean, writing music like that isn't very intuitive, but I wanted to do something really different to the other ways I've kind of done stuff before, you know. And that has a mix of stuff again. That's more has a band on it. There's funkier stuff on it. There's,
And is that the brother that you play in a band with down in Galway as well?
Yeah, so that's my brother Ben. He's his band is called the Leon Stacks Equation, and he's a drummer and a vocalist and very talented. Kind of look up to him a lot. Always, like, we've played music together since we were kids. My other brother Tom as well. Well, he's one of my brothers. There's 10 of us. I'm the youngest of 10. So Ben and Tom are next to me. The next two up. We've started playing together, and they were already playing in bands say when I was a kid, and I thought it was class, and I couldn't wait to play with them. And I was getting good at guitar, and I think it was 13 or 14 when they started getting me up on stage, you know, because they were playing in pubs and all this. And play a bit. I think it was 14 then when we got a set together and started gigging, the three of us. So I was young, kind of getting out there and making. I remember making, what did I make, like, off the first pub gig we did? It was like 60 quid or something, and I really did feel won the lottery. Like,
you admit it then.
Yeah, exactly. It was class. And I spent years gigging in pubs, which I enjoyed, but it does feel as if this, for me, the season is passing a bit with that. I don't really enjoy it much anymore, so I don't do it much. I do it occasionally, and I'm talking about just corporate gigs now in pubs, you know. So it's been a mix. The recording stuff, I mean, the different live originals projects that come and go. It's kind of, I've gotten to do a lot of different stuff, even though I'm young enough that I've really, really enjoyed. And now I suppose it's at a bit of a crossroads to say, because I think there's a new project in me, a new band that there's songs coming for, and it's not like that other. It's not very like the music I've been recording over the last few years. So it's going to be a new thing. It's going to have a new name, I think, and it's definitely out of my comfort zone. So that's kind of.
What new avenue is that band going down, do you think?
Well, I think it's got a lot of electronic elements, so rather than playing the guitar, which would be how I'd be comfortable, you know, it's an instrument I can play easily, I can play anything on, but it's so in my comfort zone because of that. I've been playing the keyboard, which I'm not so good at. I'm getting a bit better, you know, but
you were lugging it around all night.
Yeah, I was lugging it around all night last night. I didn't get to take it out. I ended up with a guitar in my hand. And so the tunes are, drum machine and synths and that kind of stuff. And I have a lot of ideas for tunes and they sound good, but I know they need to be finished. The actual sound world needs to come together.
Yeah.
So it's a band that's needed. Like, and I have two people who are in it.
Yeah.
So we've met up and done a couple of rehearsals, but it feels like a long road before we figure out what it is. What I want ultimately is to make really good songs and just get them out and gig them in front of people. That's what I'm looking forward to.
You know, when you said there that you were like learning the skills of a producer and stuff like that, is that where you're on about like the electronic and drums and synths and stuff? Like, is that where you learned that side of the music? Because I know you were guitar focused before.
I think not quite, like, because I think the way I learned everything in music was just through play. You know, like, I don't know, I probably played with a synth first, years and years ago, and didn't know what I was doing, but enjoyed just playing. And I did that a few times over the years, and at some point was like, oh, this could be a thing, I could get a lot out of this, and bought a synth, and then got more acquainted with it. And it's always been from a place of curiosity with me, where it's like, what can we do with this kind of thing, you know what I mean? And the same with the drum machines and I don't know, I think if you're approaching it from that place, in my experience, it kind of, you get something out of it, rather than, I never like to think of, I should learn to read music, or I should learn to, it's like, I used to think that a lot, you know, skills that I should have. It was like, why should I have them? Like, should be coming from a place of curiosity that you want to play and make something with it. So that's where it's come from a lot for me with those electronic elements, and just because you can do something different with them.
Yeah.
Because when I pick up a guitar, I do fall back on the same kinds of veins, and when you take that away and you throw it on another instrument, something else comes out, and that's exciting. That's the main thing, really. Like.
And where did you study breakdancing?
School of Art. I've no idea where that one move I have came from.
Which is
I
some
tried
move. Blew my mind.
Tried it one night and I thought, this works. And I don't know where it came from. I'd like to learn to do the warm now. That'll be good.
And where did you meet Donald then? Donald is the curly organ that's that you're working with this weekend.
I met him through my brother Ben, because Ben's moved over to Galway. He's based there the last few years. He's back and forth a lot to Trim, where I live. But he met Donald over there. Donald's very active in, you know, a lot of different communities. He's one of those people, I think you kind of meet him if you're in the scene with music or arts or community stuff, because he's just very active in it. So Ben gave him my contact at some point, because Donald wanted to do something with all the samples that he collects, because so much of what he does is having conversations or improvisations and recording them on a microphone to people who can hear it live in headphones. That seems to be something he's just very into. So he has like so much material recorded, and I think he has a bit of a dream of wanting to do something with it. He'll tell you better than I will now. Hopefully he'll come in and give his own version of that. But anyway, he got in touch because he said, look, I want to do something with these, and your brother Ben says you know, you might be the man for kind of sampling and making something out of them and all that crack.
Yeah.
We didn't really do much of that, to be honest. I just put together an idea, and it didn't particularly go anywhere or take off that time. I had other stuff on, but then I ended up recording his album, producing his album for him, like, and playing it and stuff as well, which isn't released yet, but we're most of the way through. I think I've recorded nearly everything on it, so I'll be mixing that in the coming weeks now, like, and hopefully that'll be out this year anyway. He's about to have a baby, please God, in a couple of weeks, so there's a lot going on for him, but I'm excited about that album. I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's very original. He's got a good way of approaching the songs and the music.
So you were down on Friday helping them with that, and you're here for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I'm here till the bitter end, I'd say. I drive home now tomorrow. Yeah, it's been great. I think I mean the music here has been excellent. It's a very good caliber of musician, but I think what's really interesting about this weekend is the way it's not separated in terms of, oh, there's the performers and here's the, you know, consumers or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It does feel like we're all locked into this thing together, and there's a nice approachability, and you can't get
locked in is a good way of putting it as
it
well.
literally
Right?
feels like that. And you get talking to everybody, like you know what I mean. Half the people here now feel like I've had a chat with them at some point. It's great.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Richard. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man. Now we have Donald McConnon, also known as the curly organ. Is that correct?
Yes, Richie, you are correct.
So you're here this weekend, Microphonelandia. Is that the correct?
That's the place. That's
the place.
where we
That's
are.
where we are right now.
Yes.
So maybe let's expand on that idea.
Okay.
What's this place like?
Well, it's hard to say exactly, and just give broad strokes on what the place is like and has been like over the course of the last 2 days. So maybe if you would indulge with me to ask the cards how it's been going.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's give it a go.
So, since you're the one asking me the questions, why don't you offer me a card? Offer me all the cards and I'll pick one.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. You'd have to spread them out
Ah, okay.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
My first rodeo. There you go.
You're doing great. Okay. So, oh,
Okay. So
so can you describe the card?
El Senior Glum, and it has a sad Charlie Chaplin.
It's Charlie Chaplin. So that's connected to creativity, playing a role, taking on a role, moving between roles. We all experience that. It relates to depression,
Okay.
but microphone land, there's space for all shades of emotion. So with the second card, maybe we can go a little bit deeper.
Okay.
All right. The little shite. The little shite, and there's a picture of a kid who, it's not very likable kid. They look like they look like they're going to piss their pants at any moment, probably because they're nervous. So the little shite and Senior Glum are connected. But the little shite energy, it's a very interesting energy. Something that, we need to learn to manage our little shite energy in some way. It's a need to be seen. It's a need to be authentic.
Okay.
And microphone land is my search to deal with my inner little shite. To be seen, to be authentic, to be loved. But I'm also trying to help people, I believe, manage their own inner little shite energy by giving them the space to be freaky, to be spazzy, and let things go a little bit. And there'll still be acceptance and love at the end of that. Because maybe, and it's just part of being a kid and growing up, we get told, we get shut down, we get told we're being annoying, and maybe it might be true, and maybe it's necessary in that moment. But sometimes these things stick with us, and maybe in the future we need to express that. So I think that's what I'm trying to do with Microphone Landia. I think when the little shite energy doesn't have anywhere to go, El Senior Glum, comes about.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. I feel like with not Microphone Landia as a thing, it's not limited to Microphone Landia, but I think part of the driving force behind it is to tackle that and give space for our little shite energies. Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to pick another card?
One more card for the road.
Sure. Why not? Love Me Tender. And it's a picture of people slow dancing.
It's two people slow dancing. It's a couple very much in love. It's a very public thing as well. As you can see in the picture, there's people sort of taking photos of them. They're in the public eye. And maybe we could call it everybody's need to be loved tenderly, including their little shite energy, needs to be cradled and held among all the spazziness and weirdness. If there's any blockages in any of these things, then El Senior Glum triumphs. So yeah, maybe Love Me Tender is really just the end goal of everything, of all of our activities, of our creativity. Maybe perhaps, Richie, of your podcast, if I can be so bold.
Mm-hmm.
Of definitely, certainly of my endeavours. It's to just be loved and held and accepted by the public of County Clare.